Chapter 13 The Heart of Shadows. The first rays of dawn crept over Chinhae village, but the morning brought little warmth. The mist hung low, swirling like restless ghosts between the trees, and the village was eerily silent, too silent. Elon sat at the edge of the riverbank, watching the slow current as it wound its way toward the mountains. He hadn't slept. His mind was filled with too many voices, Yuling's warning, Mo Ran's words, and that unsettling gaze from the cloaked stranger who had appeared the night before. Something had shifted. He could feel it, a faint vibration in the world, like the earth itself was whispering. He closed his eyes and tried to steady his breathing. For weeks, he had been trying to ignore the faint pulse in his chest, that lingering connection to the heart of the veil, the ancient artifact he had rejected atop Azure Peak. But the more he tried to silence it, the louder it became. It wasn't gone. It was inside him. A soft rustle in the grass drew his attention. Yulin approached, her white robes faintly glowing in the pale morning light. Her expression was calm, but her eyes, sharp and weary, betrayed what she felt. "You feel it too?" she asked quietly. Elon nodded without turning to face her. "It's stronger now," he said. "It doesn't stop. It's like something inside me is calling to something out there." Yuling came to stand beside him, her gaze following the flow of the river. "That's because the heart never truly left you," she said. "When you rejected its power, you didn't destroy it. You absorbed part of it. The bond was made the moment you touched it." Elon turned to her sharply, eyes wide. "Absorbed it? You mean it's inside me?" She nodded. "In a way, yes. The heart is not just an object. It's a consciousness. Ancient, vast, and aware. And now it's connected to you. It can feel what you feel, see what you see, but it also makes you a target." Elon's stomach tightened. "So Mo Ran was right," he said bitterly. "I can't escape it." Yuling shook her head slowly. "You can't escape it, but you can understand it. That's the only way to survive what's coming." The wind shifted, and the mist seemed to part for just a moment. From the mountains came a low, deep rumble, like thunder, but there were no storm clouds in the sky. Yuling's expression darkened. "The seal is weakening," she whispered. "Seal?" Elon asked. "The heart was never meant to be wielded by mortals," she explained, her voice low and urgent. "It was part of a greater force, the balance between light and shadow. Long ago, that balance was sealed by the guardians of the veil to prevent either side from consuming the world. But now," her eyes turned toward the distant mountains, "now that you've awakened the heart, the seal is breaking. The shadows are moving again." Elon's mind reeled. The scale of what she was saying was almost too much to grasp. "Then Mo Ran is trying to claim the fragments," Yuling finished grimly. "The heart is only one piece. There are others, relics of the veil scattered across the lands. If he unites them, he'll control both light and shadow. And if that happens, balance will collapse." A sudden sound split the air, the faint crack of a branch breaking. Yuling's head snapped up instantly, her eyes narrowing. "We're being watched," she said. Before Elon could respond, 3 figures emerged from the tree line. Their robes were dark, their faces hidden beneath masks of obsidian. The air around them shimmered faintly with energy. Night Lotus cultists. Elon rose to his feet, heart pounding. The cultists spread out silently, moving like predators. "They've found us," he said through gritted teeth. Yuling's expression hardened. "Stay behind me." She extended her hand and light gathered around her fingertips, pure white energy that pulsed with warmth. The cultists hesitated, but only for a heartbeat. Then they charged. The battle erupted in a flash of motion. Yuling moved with precision, her strikes graceful but deadly, her energy slicing through the darkness that the cultists wielded. Elon fought beside her, though his attacks were clumsy, driven more by instinct than skill. And then it happened. As one of the cultists lunged toward him, something snapped inside Elon. A surge of energy exploded from his chest, a blast of power so sudden and fierce that it knocked everyone back, friend and foe alike. The world went silent. Elon stood frozen, his heart racing. His hands were glowing, the same crimson gold hue he had seen on Azure Peak. Yuling stared at him, her eyes wide. "Elon," she breathed, "that power, it's the heart." Elon looked down at his trembling hands. He could feel it now, a living energy pulsing within him, neither light nor dark. It was both. The cultists scrambled to their feet, but when they saw the glow emanating from Elon, they hesitated and then fled back into the forest without a word. Yuling approached slowly, her expression unreadable. "You've awakened part of its true form," she said, "but this is only the beginning. Every time you draw upon its power, the connection grows stronger, and the heart will begin to speak." Elon turned to her, his voice barely a whisper. "Speak?" "Yes," she said. "The heart has a will of its own. If you're not careful, it will twist yours." That night, Elon couldn't sleep. The glow in his palms had faded, but the energy remained. And when he closed his eyes, he could hear it, faint whispers in the dark, like distant voices echoing through time. Balance is an illusion. Power cannot be rejected. You are ours now. Elon jolted awake, his body covered in cold sweat. The whispers faded, but the fear did not. The heart was awake, and it had begun to whisper his name. Chapter 14. Voices of the Veil. The night was deep and restless. Clouds drifted over the moon, casting fleeting shapes across the forest floor. Elon sat by the dying campfire, staring into the embers. Each spark that floated upward seemed to pulse with the same rhythm as his heart, a faint, steady beat that wasn't entirely his own. Yuling slept nearby, though her hand never left the hilt of her sword. The faint silver light of her spirit aura shimmered softly in the dark, warding off the whispers that crept through the trees. But it couldn't ward them off from him, because the whispers weren't outside. They were inside. "Elon, you feel it, don't you? The power that sleeps beneath your skin." The voice was soft, almost soothing, but it carried weight, ancient, infinite, like the sound of time itself. Elon clenched his fists, trying to push it out. "Get out of my head," he hissed under his breath. "I cannot leave," the voice said gently. "You are the vessel. You called to me the moment you touched the heart. You sought power. Now power seeks you." "I didn't ask for this," Elon spat. A low, almost amused laugh echoed in his mind. "No one ever does." The voice faded, leaving a hollow silence that was somehow worse. Elon pressed a hand to his chest, feeling the faint warmth there. Beneath his skin, the pulse of the heart throbbed once, slow, deep, steady. It was alive. By dawn, Yuling was already awake. She noticed the dark rings beneath Elon's eyes but said nothing. They traveled in silence through the forest, following the old road that led toward Mount Tianwen, where one of the ancient temples of the Guardians supposedly stood. As they walked, Elon noticed faint ripples in the air, distortions, like heat waves, but colder. Shadows flickered where there should have been none. "They're following us," he murmured. Yuling nodded slightly. "The cult won't stop. They know what's inside you now." "Then maybe it's time I stop running," he said quietly. Her eyes met his, calm but stern. "Don't be foolish. You can't control that power yet. The moment you try, it'll consume you." Elon said nothing, but deep inside, a part of him disagreed, a part that wasn't entirely his own. That night, when Yuling went to meditate, Elon moved a few paces away from camp. He sat on a moss-covered rock, staring into the darkness. "You're still there," he said aloud. The voice came instantly. "Always." "What are you?" A pause, then softly. "I am the memory of creation, the breath between worlds. Once I was divided to preserve balance. Now, through you, I will be whole again." "You mean to destroy it," Elon said. "Destroy? No. I seek unity. Shadow and light are not enemies, only reflections. The mortals who sealed us feared what they couldn't comprehend. But you could change everything." The ground around him shimmered faintly. Shapes began to emerge from the air, faint silhouettes, ancient and regal, their eyes burning like stars. Elon staggered back, breath caught in his throat. "See what you truly are," the voice whispered. "You were never ordinary. You are the bridge between both worlds." A surge of warmth flooded his chest, power, vast and intoxicating. For a moment, he saw visions, towering cities made of crystal and flame, beings of pure energy, a colossal gate suspended in the void. Then, pain. Elon gasped and fell to his knees, clutching his chest. The energy inside him rebelled, thrashing violently, as if two forces were fighting within his soul. "Stop!" he shouted. The vision shattered. The forest returned. His breath came ragged, his hands trembling. When Yuling found him minutes later, he was pale and shaking. "Elon, what happened?" He forced a weak smile. "Just a nightmare." But Yuling wasn't fooled. Her eyes narrowed as she studied him. "You used the heart's power again, didn't you?" He looked away. "I had to know what it wanted." "And what did it tell you?" Elon hesitated. "That I'm not what I thought I was." Far away, beyond the mountains, deep beneath the ruins of the Night Lotus stronghold, Mo Ran stood before a massive obsidian altar. The flickering torches cast long shadows across his face. In his hand, he held a shard, a fragment of the same crystal that once formed the heart. A dark voice echoed through the chamber. "He has awakened it." Mo Ran's lips curved into a thin smile. "Good. Let him think he's chosen." He placed the shard on the altar, and dark energy spiraled upward, twisting into the shape of a serpent. "Let him feed the heart with his soul. When the time comes, I'll take it all." That night, as Elon lay in uneasy sleep, the whisper returned, softer this time, almost affectionate. You cannot run from what you are, Elon. You are the balance itself, and when light and shadow meet, worlds will tremble. And somewhere deep within, Elon felt the truth. The war between heaven and shadow wasn't coming. It had already begun, and he was its center. Chapter 15: The Temple of Echoes. The mountain path wound upward through mist and silence. For 3 days, Elon and Yuling climbed without rest, following a road that no map marked and few dared to remember. The air grew thinner, the forest darker, and the sky itself seemed weighed down by unseen eyes. At last, the mist thinned to reveal a vast plateau. In its center stood a structure half buried in stone and vine, a temple older than memory. Broken pillars rose like the ribs of a fallen titan, carved with symbols that shimmered faintly when touched by light. Elon felt it immediately, that same deep vibration, like a pulse beneath the earth. "This is it," he murmured, "the temple of the first guardian." Yuling nodded. "It's been sealed for centuries. Be careful. The echoes here remember." They stepped through the cracked archway. Inside, the air was cold and heavy, carrying the scent of dust and lightning. Faint golden runes flickered across the walls, whispering fragments of a forgotten language. At the center of the temple stood a stone dais, its surface carved with a perfect circle divided by light and shadow. Elon approached slowly, every step echoing through the chamber. As he reached out to trace the markings, the ground trembled. Light flared from the circle, and the air thickened with power. Yuling drew her sword instantly. "Elon, stop!" But it was too late. The runes ignited, flooding the room with blinding light. A voice rose from the walls, deep, layered, and resonant, as though 1,000 souls spoke at once. "Who disturbs the memory of the veil?" Elon fell to his knees, clutching his head. The same voice from his dreams, the heart's voice, merged with this new one, overlapping until he could no longer tell them apart. "He bears the fragment," one voice said. "He is not ready," another whispered. "He must see," the heart insisted. The light coalesced before him into the shape of a figure, tall, radiant, neither male nor female. Its eyes burned with calm eternity. "Elon of the living world," it said, "you carry what was sundered. Why?" Elon forced himself to speak through the pain. "I didn't choose this. The heart bound itself to me." The figure studied him silently. Then a single tear of light fell from its eye and struck the floor, where it bloomed into a pool of shimmering images. Within it, Elon saw visions, battles that split the heavens, guardians falling, shadows devouring light, and a single crystal, the heart, shattering into fragments that scattered across realms. "The balance broke because of desire," the guardian said. "Light sought purity, shadow sought freedom. Neither understood unity, and now their war lives within you." "Then how do I fix it?" Elon asked. "To heal the veil, you must face what you fear most, yourself." The light surged again, and the pool twisted into a mirror. But the reflection that stared back wasn't his own. It was another Elon, eyes dark, expression cold, shadow creeping from his heart. What is this?" "Your other half," said the guardian, "the side that the heart calls to. Every choice you make feeds one or the other. The question is, which will you become?" The shadow Elon smiled, the same mocking curve Mo Ran had worn. "You think you can control me?" You're already mine. Yu Ling reached for him, but invisible force flung her backward. The temple roared with energy. Elon's reflection stepped from the mirror, solidifying into a living form. Same face, same voice, but eyes like molten black glass. They circled each other as lightning crackled between the runes. "This is what the heart wants," Elon said through gritted teeth, "to turn me against myself." "No," the reflection replied, "it only reveals truth. You crave its power. You feel it burning, begging to be used. Stop lying to yourself." The reflection lunged. Their clash sent shockwaves through the temple. Each strike wasn't just physical, but spiritual. Memories, guilt, and desire colliding like storms. Elon saw flashes, his childhood in Qinghe village, Yu Ling's quiet smile, the night he first touched the heart. And beneath it all, the whisper of temptation. You could save them all if you accepted me. With a final cry, Elon struck the reflection through the chest, and light exploded outward. When the glow faded, he stood alone again, trembling, the mirror shattered to dust. The guardian's voice returned, softer now. "Balance is never without pain. Remember, Elon, unity is not surrender. The heart can be mastered, but only if you master yourself." The light dimmed. The temple grew silent once more. Yu Ling rushed to his side, catching him as he swayed. "Are you all right?" "I saw it," he whispered, "the war, and me in both sides of it." She looked at him with quiet sorrow. "Then the true battle begins now." Far below the mountain, in the ruins where darkness gathered, Mo Ran felt the surge of power even from miles away. A faint smile touched his lips. "He's opened the first seal," he murmured. "Good. Let him think he's winning." He turned to the figure beside him, a woman cloaked in silver flame, her eyes like dying stars. "When the second temple awakens," she said, "there will be no turning back." "Exactly," Mo Ran replied, "because by then he'll already be mine." Chapter 16. Twin Paths. The wind at dawn was sharp and cold. From the summit of Mount Tianwan, the world stretched endlessly below, a sea of clouds glowing beneath a crimson sky. Elon stood at the edge of the plateau, watching the sunrise pierce the mist, feeling the quiet after the storm within him. He touched his chest. The faint hum of the heart still echoed beneath his skin, but now it was quieter. Not gone, but watching. Yu Ling approached from behind, her steps silent as snow. "You held back the heart's shadow," she said softly. "Few could have done that." Elon gave a weary smile. "Held it back, for now, but I saw what's coming. The Guardian showed me two futures, one where I destroy the heart, and one where I become it." Yu Ling studied him, her eyes serious. "Then we'll have to find a third." They began the descent that morning. The forest below was still and strange. The usual birdsong had vanished. The path wound through ancient trees whose roots seemed to whisper beneath their feet. The deeper they went, the more Elon sensed something, not dark, but old, watching. At a bend in the trail, a figure appeared, leaning on a wooden staff. He was tall, cloaked in tattered gray, his face hidden by a hood. But his aura was unmistakable, calm, immense, and familiar in a way Elon couldn't explain. "You've awakened the first temple," the stranger said. His voice was deep, smooth, like the slow rumble of the earth. "So the cycle begins again." Yu Ling's hand went to her sword instantly. "Who are you?" The man smiled faintly beneath the hood. "A friend, once." He lifted his staff, and the ground before them shimmered, revealing faint lines of light tracing ancient symbols. "This mountain is one of 7. Each holds a temple, each guards a memory of the veil. You've seen the first, but the second lies far from here, across the desert of whispers." Elon frowned. "Why help us?" The stranger's gaze turned toward him, sharp and knowing. "Because the last time this war was fought, I stood where you stand now, and I failed." He lowered his hood, and both Elon and Yu Ling froze. His hair was silver, his eyes glowing faint gold, and around his neck hung a small shard of crystal, pulsing faintly with the same rhythm as the heart inside Elon. "You were a guardian," Yu Ling whispered. He nodded. "I was once called Orin, keeper of the second veil. The others are gone, but the memory remains. And now the heart has chosen again." They followed him through the forest until dusk. As they walked, Orin spoke of the old war, how the Guardians were once beings of both light and shadow, created to maintain balance between realms. But pride corrupted them. The heart was broken into 7 fragments, the shards of creation, each hidden in a temple bound to a guardian's soul. "The heart cannot be destroyed," Orin said. "It can only be unified, by one who embodies both halves without surrendering to either." Elon glanced at him. "And you think that's me?" Orin smiled faintly. "You wouldn't be the first to believe you were chosen, but the heart doesn't choose based on worth. It chooses based on need." That night they camped near the foot of the mountain. The stars burned bright, silver dust across the black sky. Yu Ling tended the fire while Elon sat apart, lost in thought. He could feel Orin's eyes on him from across the flames. "You're afraid," Orin said finally. "Wouldn't you be?" Elon replied quietly. "Every time I use its power, I feel less like myself." Orin poked the fire with his staff, sending sparks spiraling into the night. "That's because you're still fighting it. The heart doesn't want a slave. It wants a mirror. Balance comes when you stop running from what you are." Elon's voice was barely above a whisper. "And if what I am is dangerous?" Orin's gaze was steady. "Then learn to be dangerous for the right reason." Later, after the camp had gone silent, Yu Ling approached Yu Ling quietly. "Do you trust him?" "I don't know," Elon admitted, "but he knows things we need." She nodded slowly. "Just remember, every guardian fell for a reason. Not all wounds stay healed." Elon looked into the fire. The embers flared like tiny hearts of light, and for a moment he thought he saw shapes within them, faces, shadows, watching. And then, faintly, the whisper returned. "The second temple waits, but not all who seek balance deserve it." Far away, Mo Ron stood upon a blackened plain. Before him, the ground was cracked and lifeless, but in his hand, a shard of pure shadow pulsed with hungry light. The woman of silver flame appeared beside him again. "They've found the second guardian," she said. Mo Ron's lips curved into a thin smile. "Good. Let Orin guide him. Every step he takes only leads him closer to me." He lifted the shard, and the darkness spread outward like smoke. The heart doesn't need 2 paths. In the end, there can be only one.